late night live stream, Friday night. Wanted to check in and see who's up and active and at it and attentive. So I figure I have somewhat of a little late night couch chat. And so definitely from the title, going to be talking about a very important subject matter once again, because right now, within the next 4 hours, give or take, there might be a lot of people running down to their local bank in the country of France to withdraw their savings, because this week, today, Saturday in France, right now it's about 4:30 in France right now, and the banks open at 9 a.m. And it's called, there's a new act, a part of this whole yellow vest movement, and it's labeled. So if you guys want to check down below, I'll put down some links that I got this information from. But there's a little homework, and as of 9 a.m., from 9 to 1 in France, some banks open. And so the question will be, out of all the hundreds of thousands of protesters in France, how many will be willing to go down and withdraw their savings, all their savings out of the bank? Because it's labeled the, what is it called? Let me pull this up real quick. It's called, the movement, or the act is called it's quite catchy. Where is it at? It's called can't find the name of it. What is it called? It's called the Collectors Referendum. And so we have the protesters. As of this past week on January 7th, one of the leaders of the movement came out with a video post on the Facebook page, deemed the whole Yellow Vest movement Facebook page, mentioning that the 12th of January was going to be the day that they encourage everyone to go down to the banks to withdraw their savings, because they, quote, I'll read a little quote. It says, where's it at? It's quite telling as to how there's an awakening happening. It says, for Act 9, we will scare the state legally without any violence through the referendum des perceptors, or collectors referendum. I don't speak French. It says, we all know that the power of a country is not in the hands of the government, but in the hands of the banks. If the banks weaken, the state weakens immediately. It says, on Saturday at 8 a.m., we will all vote by withdrawing our money till the RIC won't imposed. So whatever that is. So translation error there. But withdrawing their money at 8 a.m. So I guess, the information on the internet was wrong, but at 8 a.m., they're going to be withdrawing their money. And so the question will be, will this be the beginning of a complete contagion-like effect in the European area? And if so, will it spread? Because I also read a different article saying that it could end up going to the UK right above as of next week as well, because the Yellow Vest movement is spreading. And so I think that this could be some type of domino. And then if you guys have watched before, I've always talked about some type of domino that could fall. Never know where the trigger may, what might cause it. But yeah, this definitely might be something that is worthy of keeping an eye on, because the people in France, those that are on the streets, know that this whole illusion of a governmental structure and a banking structure is not really the case. So they know that that there's no real money in the banks. And so if people go down to their bank in a couple of hours attempting to withdraw funds, it's good to say that, I'm not sure people would feel comfortable walking out of the bank with their savings, depending on what they're holding. But if they are able to get some money out, it's just a matter of time before banks are forced to close. And it's good to say that come Monday morning, there will be probably a national bank holiday. And so to my knowledge, I don't recall there being any bank holidays apart from Cyprus, which happened in 2011, 12, where the entire country had to shut down their banks, and they had to basically, you only had access to, I think, 50 to 100 euros a day. And we know how that all ended. Or we actually don't know how that ended, because they didn't really give us any information after that. And so we could be on the cusp of something similar to that. But yet, then the next thing would be, if it hits UK, it's going to happen there with the sterling and the pound there. So it's going to be more issues. And they got the whole Brexit situation. So that will not be good for the government there. And then, as always, as I mentioned, I believe that there's an opportunity, or a possibility rather, for the Yellow Vest movement to come over to this side of the water. And if it does, and if this bank holiday situation is effective and it gets the attention of the government in France, and Emmanuel Macron is forced to respond in some way, not sure how he might respond with this one, But this is something that I believe will be a systemic event that will then trickle into Germany with Deutsche Bank. And we all know what type of shape they're in over there. And so basically, people are about to find out what's really happening with the idea that there's no real funds in the accounts. And so even in the article but down below, if you go a little further, they talk about how they're informing people about how this system operates from a fractional reserve banking standpoint, in that there's not enough actual paper, there's not enough euros physically in those banks for people to actually be able to withdraw. So this is something definitely it will be problematic. And so that's just one thing. But then also on another note, everybody knows that today was, I guess, somewhat the official payday. Would have been the official payday for a lot of government workers, of which a lot of people didn't get their funds. And so, people are withdrawing funds in France, and then people are trying to get paid here. So this is definitely going to be, something that I believe we all will eventually feel the effects of this. But I'm just ranting for now. I want to just give a chance to speak to a couple people in the chat. It says, "Hello, Fab Tony. How you doing, my friend? Could be interesting, very interesting." And to make it even worthwhile, the article I'll link down below mentioned how, with the cash crunch that's coming. So basically, people are going to find out there's not enough cash in the bank. There's going to be a liquidity crisis because come Monday, if the banks do officially have a holiday where they shut down operations, that means that they won't be doing any lending as well. So no lending means that businesses won't have access to funds or whatnot come next week. And that right there is a contagion effect of more events happening, because paychecks won't then come, as somebody mentioned here. And then right on down, and eventually it's going to get into the whole payment aspect for the government issuing people their government checks or whatnot. Because if you can't go down to the bank to get any cash, you won't be able to get access to your monthly paycheck there. And then a lot of people are probably not aware of the fact, if you had a chance to travel abroad, you know that outside this country, for the most part, everywhere else you get paid once a month. And so here we get paid every 2 weeks, give or take or whatever. And so over there you get paid at the beginning of the month. And so imagine, like, right now it's the 11th of the month. And so with this whole bank situation underway, think about come time to get paid in February for the European area. And if they're not able to get access to cash, they're going to be in a much tighter pinch than we are here, because they won't have access to cash, period, in the midst of having to take care of their livelihoods or whatnot. And they only get paid once a month. So all their cash will be on lockdown. It's not like this will be every 2 weeks they can go back and get some more cash. So definitely not going to be a good situation. It says, okay, I saw something that says Ivanka Trump really trying to go to World Bank president. Yeah, I saw that as well. Apparently, I think they're just throwing it out there to see how the public responds. But that right there smells very bad, because not only does a good portion of the population not really care for Trump, but then for the idea of Trump, somebody with the last name Trump, becoming a president or a member of any type of institution outside this country is definitely it's a conflict of interest, hands down, because Ivanka Trump, I don't really think she's has any financial or economic type of background to herself. I'm not sure exactly what she had, what she beyond clothesline or whatever she does. I don't even know what she do, to be honest with you. So I know it's not nothing to do with finances. So how can she become president would be the primary question. It says, will the U.S. dollar pair be bullish due to this? Pair in reference to pairing to what? Indigenous copper. What pair are you referring to? We talking about cryptos or metals or what? It says, I like Trump, but that stinks. Ivanka is foreign. So she could be a dual citizen. Not sure of what other nationality, but would that qualify her to be president or whatever position in a financial institution such as the World Bank? And on top of that, that's just not good for. That wouldn't be good for the image of the Trump family when in the midst of their daddy being labeled the reason for this government shutdown. He says, should we get our money out of the bank now in the USA? Chauncey, man, 2K5. Oh, man. Once again, I'm not able to give financial advice or, this is all just entertainment right now. This is all my opinion. But I would definitely be conscientious of the idea that eventually there could be some type of contagion effect to where we experience some type of bank issues here. And then that means that there will be a limit on what you can withdraw. But, as part of the whole RTD University series, if you look at some of the past interviews, especially those that are labeled something to do with banking or financial system, a lot of economists / authors that I've interviewed in the past always reference the fact that the likelihood of there being a bail-in this country is very favorable because our entire economy flows through the banking sector, and it's the lifeline of our country. So if there's issues in the economy, you can guarantee there's going to be issues in the banking sector. And according to the Dodd-Frank bill that was passed, there's a section in there that states that the United States Treasury, the FDIC has been given jurisdiction to settle the resolution aspect of how banks will handle their dealings with their creditors. And so basically, if your money's in the bank, you're a creditor of a bank. And so there's going to be processes at which they're going to deal with that step by step. And ultimately, those that are savers and depositors will be the last tier and will get the least amount of funds out. So, but you'll be, they'll be bailed in. You'll get some type of credit or something of that on your account. You can't withdraw. So there'll be some type of, they're going to come up with something, but it's in the Dodd-Frank Act. It says, Mike, there's already a limit. You try to wire more than 10K or take out mere 500 ATM. Yeah, definitely. And I've heard of people that actually tried to withdraw even larger funds than that. And you had to fill out some paperwork, and you had to, go jump through hoops to basically get access to your funds. So when those type of things happen, that would have made me question and wonder, what exactly do you need to know all that for? But then also keep in mind that as part of the banking acts, banks are responsible for keeping track of depositors' activity. So anything that looks suspicious, they're responsible for reporting on that. And if they don't, they get penalized somehow, some way if it slips past their attention. So you shouldn't be surprised. So yeah, worthless bank stock. And so, like I mentioned before, it may not necessarily be stock directly, as in the stock that we're used to, the trades on Wall Street. But I would anticipate some type of crypto-based coin that has already been in the making for a lot of too big to fail banks. So they all have some type of blockchain issued protocol that they're all working on. And so I think it's Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan has 10, 15 patents for some type of crypto type ordeal. So it's already there. Now it's just a matter of having it ready for the issuance to the public when it's time to give them something that is supposed to be backed by the government or backed by whoever's going to back it to give it confidence. So you probably won't get shares in reference to the actual bank shares, but you're going to get crypto shares or crypto coins for that particular bank, which will be utilized. You'll probably have access to be able to spend those coins, like say a Goldman Sachs coin. It'd be 1-for-1 or a stable coin. Hence the idea of stable coins becoming very popular the last couple months because they need something to give that crypto illusion outside of Bitcoin, because they can't control Bitcoin directly, but they can control stable coins because it's paired to the dollar. So I can imagine a bank rolling out their stable coin backed by the dollar, whatever that means, even though we all know that's not a good way to, not a good measure of value. But point in case is, if there's a bank holiday, they'll definitely give you some type of share in it in the form of a coin. Visa, MasterCard, in my opinion, will be on board with that because they're part of the whole Lightning Network and all that. They're all interconnected. And so you'll probably be able to swipe your debit card and have those coins debited out of your account. And so believe me, that's coming. It's already in the work, I believe. It says, hey, Rob, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for joining us this evening. So basically, got on tonight just basically because I want to talk about the whole bank run situation, because I believe that this can be another one of those dominoes that could fall, that could have a ripple effect. And eventually, Europe will definitely have some issues because they are not the leading nation in reference to having a global reserve currency, even though the euro is increasing in popularity amongst reserves around the world, especially from that video I did last night with Russia acquiring. They sold $100 billion worth of assets, U.S. assets, to acquire a quarter of the Chinese yuan that's in circulation and euros. So some countries see some writing on the wall there. It says Chinese yuan not backed by gold, just gold. Not backed by gold, just gold. Antonio, to my knowledge, I don't the Chinese renminbi, the oil futures, from what I've gathered, is redeemable in physical gold, and so the oil is what is redeemable for gold. I'm not sure. I really haven't followed that subject matter much, other than knowing that it is an option. It's available. Last I heard from some commentators is that it's picked up pace on the international scene, and a lot of people are acquiring it and getting involved with it. It says, what happened to the Harriet Tubman $20 bill? Caroline, man, good point. I thought that was interesting. And so that was timely for the former administration, given that past 8 years was the era of opening the door up for opportunities for minorities, African Americans, basically, to have crossed that threshold of being able to achieve the unachievable by becoming president. And so it'd have been just timely to have a $20 bill with the African American on it, but we haven't heard nothing about that, and so it was probably just a gimmick. It says, did you see Heavy Metal Magazine 1990 Trump the Wall? Tony Blaylock, I did not see that. And so do me a favor, shoot that to me in the chat. Shoot me a link to that in the chat, and I'll definitely check it out. And so a domino effect. Yeah, definitely. This is going to be, I believe, I'm just, once again, I love getting on and sharing my thoughts and opinions based upon what just seems like it could be ideal. But at 8 a.m. in the morning, which is, as of now, about three and a half hours away from now in France, if it is true that the Yellow Vest movement, will be hitting the streets and going to their local bank to withdraw funds, then that means thousands of people can be running to the bank and withdrawing euros that's not there. So imagine, how would you feel if you went down to your local bank, commercial bank, credit union, they're all under the same regulation of only able to keep a certain amount of paper in the vaults. And so how would you feel if the door was closed, or is a line outside, and you got in line and people said, hey, man, I've been sitting in line for an hour or two. Line is not moving. Would you begin to panic? And then how far will word spread when people are driving by the street and they see a long line outside the bank and the line's not moving? And then, of course, you're going to have some people that's going to get a little rowdy, and then it's going to get very problematic, because this Act 9, as it's called, or the collectors referendum, is supposed to be a peaceful movement to where they're not going to do any violence, supposedly, today, Saturday, in France right now. But they're going to just go down to the bank and ask for a withdrawal. But I would imagine Emmanuel Macron, the president, has already, talked to the Treasury Finance Minister and all that, and the banking regulators and all the, the big banks there, and said, hey, let's either get some paper into the bank right now. So there could be right now in France, lots of, Brinks trucks driving around to all these banks and ATMs to stock up on cash in anticipation of a bank run, so that people can actually leave with something. And then that'll calm the concern of there not being enough paper out there. And then I could, come Monday, be a reason why the banks open up, because they're portraying the idea that there's enough funds and paper floating around for people to actually acquire. And so basically what I wanted to share with you guys tonight was my thoughts on how, if this Yellow Vest movement collectors referendum, Act 9, goes down in a couple hours, of which we're, from the alternative media space, I'm sure we're going to find out. We're going to hear what's really happening in the alternative media realm. And so if it goes down, and if there is actually a situation where banks are forced to close their doors today, as in Saturday in France, then expect Monday on the mainstream news, we'll hear that there's been declared a national bank holiday. Nobody in France can get money out. And then that will cause a problem in other EU countries, because there's other Yellow Vest movements popping up. And there's one in Egypt that I mentioned the other day. And then UK got one going with this whole Brexit situation. So there will be a lot of angry individuals in the next couple of hours, or the next 48 hours come Monday. It says, what is the biggest weapon of the elites? Fiat currency. Badger report. That's real. The biggest weapon, I would say, beyond that, is the actual control of the fractional reserve lending. And so, of course, fiat currency, fractional reserve lending is the reason why the money supply increases rapidly without the need for actual paper, because there's so many euro digits in existence. So having the control of a nation's money supply, as Rothschild mentioned, Big Daddy Rothschild mentioned hundreds of years ago. And so, we all know that France was controlled. The French, we all know from back in history how the French were all under the paycheck or under lock and key to the Rothschild family. So it's good to say that family still has a major a major share in the national bank in France, as well as the UK bank. And we all know the Federal Reserve Bank. So that family has done quite well for themselves over the last couple hundred years. It says, do you think this will be a spike in BTC? Vince, good question. In any situation, any normal situation, it should definitely cause a spike. But my guess will be that there will not be a spike, because the powers that be, the heavy holders of these coins, will definitely make sure that there's no viable option out that gives confidence. And so typically, when there's problems somewhere, when there's problems with fiat currencies, in reference to the dollar or euro or whatever, then usually precious metals usually do well. But now there's a third option of asset class of cryptocurrency. So that would be even more reason why there should be spikes in alternatives outside of national currencies. But as we saw the last year, there was a lot of issues back last year to where it'd have been ideal for metals to rise, but it did not. And every time it went up, silver especially went up 20 cents, it got slammed 30 cents. And gold go up, $10, it gets slammed $15. So there's always a way to dump some contracts out in the market to lessen the price, just to make sure that people don't see something outside of national currencies increasing nominally. It says BTC will dump end of the month anyway, Chinese New Year. Crypto, I've heard about that before. So I would doubt that that's a typical trend and cycle. And so once again, depending on your stance on that particular asset class, it could be a buying opportunity, or it might be something you want to get out of now, depending on what you stand, where you stand at. And so it says, how do you buy crypto with cash in your hand? Those crypto ATMs are a ripoff. Low blood pressure. It's been a while since I've actually used the ATM machine, but because of the premium on the coin that I was purchasing, I only did it a couple of times, and it was quite easy. It was very easy. It was a smooth process, but I just haven't done it in a while. But it's a viable option. Someone says buy ammo. Omni says I'll buy regardless. And so Vince, local Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm not even sure if local Bitcoin in the Detroit area is really even jumping like that anymore. I used to do years ago. I used to do the local Litecoin or Litecoin local, whatever it was, but I don't think it's still up and running that strong nowadays. I haven't seen a BTC ATM in Arizona. No. So watch this. I bet you if you Google Bitcoin ATM near me, you'll be surprised that there's one in your gas station not too far from the house, I would imagine. Because here in Detroit, we have we got a lot of them. And actually, I was driving down 8 Mile, and so everybody know 8 Mile, from the movie 8 Mile, Eminem. I was driving down 8 Mile, and my son spotted. He was like, "Dad, look at that! You can buy Bitcoin or something like that." I'm like, "Oh, really? That's interesting." But it was a billboard on a major highway. It says, "I will not B3 at $1 million BTC. Wishing I bought up now." I didn't even say I will not B3. I can't interpret that one, but I'm assuming you said you wish you would have bought Bitcoin when it was cheaper, because you'll be a millionaire now. Is what I interpret that as. Because BTC is having trouble with having funds to back their BTC. I don't know about that one. John Moore, how you doing, my friend? Says the app will show you exactly where they are based on your location. John, good advice there. John, do me a favor, throw that link in this chat so people can see what's going on with that. Definitely a good option there. It says, can you buy Bitcoin with credit cards? Not anymore, I don't think. You could do it on Coinbase, but I don't think they do. I don't think they accept credit cards anymore. It has to be a debit card. But I could be wrong. John Moore, feel free to chime in the chat. So John Moore is a gentleman that's joined me on RTD Live Talk before, so I definitely recommend you guys go check out the RTD Live Talk series. He's in, part of the Litecoin family and does a great job with credit card payment services. So you guys want to check him out. John, let them know where they can find you at. It says, wait, be patient with crypto. Definitely. And so here's some words of encouragement, because I often find myself, or people just in their voice, they always sound like, it's never going to end. The manipulation is never going to end. And as I mentioned the other night on the live chat, you don't want the manipulation. I personally wouldn't want the manipulation to end, because when it ends, that's game over. And when game over requires reset, restructuring, debt implosion, government chaos, people hitting the streets, and what, as far as what we're anticipating happening. So learn to appreciate the manipulation. Learn to enjoy life around the manipulation is what I would do, is what I do. I enjoy being able to buy things a lot cheaper than what I anticipate them being one day, because once we get to that point, there's no turning back. And everyone that's been patiently waiting over the last however long you've been aware and awake, you've been preparing by acquiring things that are very affordable and cheap. So you're in a great position, or a better position than a majority. So be patient and focus more so on the education aspect and helping other people wake up so that they can also have a chance to get these opportunities that we have to acquire something well below its intrinsic value or its perceived value, based upon all the technological advancements with this crypto blockchain stuff. And we all know the historical aspects of metal, so that's always there. That is always there. Local Bitcoin site, and you can pay however you want. I'm going to log off. Just wanted to get on tonight and just get your thoughts and let you know my projections on how in the next couple hours I'm going to keep my ears to the ground for the news and see what's happening over in France as this movement progresses, because I believe it's going to be problematic anyway it go, because this is Act 9. So we'll see how that goes. So it looked like I lost my stream for a minute. But anyway, see that we should be aware of this, underway right now. And if it's in full bloom, that will be the beginning. So listen, I keep going in and out. That's probably half me. In this situation in our own country that didn't get their paycheck today. All right, so that must be time for me to go, because it keeps reconnecting on me as if my signal's weak or something. So anyway, people, thanks for tuning in, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this chat. Definitely, it's great to check in with you guys on Friday night. If you enjoyed it back and forth, give me a thumbs up. Don't be afraid to share this information, definitely, because bank holidays coming one way or another, whether it's because of this French stuff or if it's because of something else, this government shutdown. There's going to be a pinch all the way around. So other than that, people, be blessed, be safe, have a good evening, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.